everyone. I'm Cecilia Kolbash, and I'm wearing my pink and cyan today to go over my portfolio with y'all and what I've done for the past 4 years under this famous roof of Hackberry Lab. So how I got here, I'm a creative technologist with a passion for fashion. I love fashion, arts and crafts, reading, and most importantly, I love making a difference in the work that I do. So I'm a CRT major with minors in business and social entrepreneurship. And I've actually majored in 6 different things before, I got to this one and finally settled on creative technology. It was when I was talking with Dr. Hope Willoughby that I decided that creative technology was going to be for me because I wanted to start businesses and really make a difference in the world. And she was like, take creative technologies, intro to prototyping. And so I did. And I fell immediately in love with just being able to make stuff, instead of having to take an exam. It's just so nice. So, my theme for my portfolio is creating accessible clothing for people with physical needs. I've done this one through innovation. I've taken designs and things that already exist and innovated them to be more human-centered. How can this greater help the group that it is supposed to be helping? How can I innovate this to make it more efficient or more accessible, as you'll see? I've used my design. I've designed things with the intentional purpose for helping specific groups and specific social causes, and that falls into meaning where I've created things with a purpose. I've created things to help people. I've come up with business ideas and products that are centered around the greater good for a underserved group. So my first project I'm going to talk about really cues my business and social entrepreneurship minors. Very big in the Campbell School of Business. So this is Cecilia's Community Closet. Cecilia's Community Closet is my 501c3 that I started my freshman year to repurpose donated clothing to help and serve underserved K through 12 students in the Rome area. So what I do is I take donations from college students here and shorter friends and family in the community, and the Rome is also very involved with this. I sort through the donations to kind of pick out the most trendy items that middle school and high schoolers would want. And I set up shops at places like Open Door Home with clothing racks. I have tables, I fold things by size, organized by color, and the students are able to come in and actually have a shopping experience like we all would if we went to the mall. But since there's a sort of economic inaccessibility for these students, that is alleviated through my business because they're able to essentially purchase items and pick out items at no cost to them. And because I'm picking out trendier clothing, a lot of them have actually said to me they love not having to wear grandma clothes anymore because I'm hand selecting pieces and understanding their needs and what they want, because they want to go to school wearing the same stuff that they see other students wearing, not just like a floral blouse with some slacks. Like they want to wear nice ripped mom jeans with some graphic t-shirts. And that's what I've been able to serve to them. And this goes into my capstone because I'm able to understand my audiences and emphasize with them and build projects and businesses that are made to help them. So then my next one is the ever-changing jean jacket. This was actually my CRT 101 final project where I finally got to build something with fashion. And I was like, this is awesome. So my ever-changing jean jacket is really here to kind of combat fast fashion. We're a world of consumers, no matter how hard we try not to be. And I mean, I know I'm constantly buying a new outfit for every occasion. So I was like, what can I do to kind of eliminate that? So my jean jacket actually has back panels that can be changed depending on the season, the style you're wearing that day, or just however you feel. And I've done this through the work of snap buttons. So the snap buttons is what I like to call an accessible accessory, where each back panel has buttons, and then the jean jacket has buttons, and you just snap them together, and you can easily change them, not wear them, all that good stuff. And this has introduced me to what I'll be working with through my capstone, because I was like, wow, snap buttons are really easy to put on a jean jacket. What else can I put them in to make people's lives easier? Because it's so easy to swap out a back panel. How can I do this with other clothing items to really make them more accessible, but also cute, because they're small. So then with Pixie, well, this is a dress that lights up. It's not any ordinary dress. I worked with Pixie for my directed study last semester alongside my colleagues, Alina and Kaya. And so this is a dress that we made out of PCBs. We used both FR4 and Flex PCBs, and we had 3 different dresses. There are two things about making this dress that really stood out to me in shaping what I did for my capstone and work that I'll do in the future. So one, this dress is extremely hard to put on and off. So the donning and doffing process of this dress is pretty much impossible for everybody. So, it opened my eyes to how can I make something that's easy to put on for everyone, right? Because this dress is, you have to be very meticulous about where you place your feet and how you're standing when you put this on. And someone absolutely has to help you put this on and tie it all together and make the magic happen. Also with this dress, we basically patterned this from scratch. So we made it to fit our bodies, and we were very meticulous with where we placed the geometric shapes and the different like petals that we used, so it wasn't cutting into the body and it laid nicely. And we patterned this all from scratch. We had a lot of different renditions and a lot of innovation went into this, but it opened my eyes to, well, how can I make a piece of clothing that fits everybody's body? Because we took these shapes and we designed them to fit us, but is there a way that I can make something that fits everybody and is easy for everybody? So that brings me to my capstone, Limitless by Grace. Limitless by Grace is my LLC. It's adaptive garments that empower people with physical disabilities. So this background on this is this was inspired by my sister who does have a physical disability, and I turned it into a business and was able to spend my time, my last semester at Berry, working on my capstone where I focused on clothing that promotes comfort, independence, and mobility. Comfort because my designs use materials that empower these people to feel comfortable while they're putting on their clothing and wearing it. With independence, my users have an enhanced feeling of independence through self-dressing. And with mobility, the designs I will show you in a couple minutes here are you're able to sit and stand and put them on. They require limited reach, and it really the clothing adapts to the mobility of the user and not vice versa. So the first one is comfort. So I've used cotton and knit blends and spandex with smooth designs and intentional stitching, and just where all my stitching lies on the body, as well as where my adaptive accessories lie on the body to promote a sense of comfort in my user and how they feel with wearing it and putting it on. Because someone with physical disabilities can't necessarily always put on jeans. They can't necessarily always put on tight leggings, and it's uncomfortable to wear because of the day-to-day things that they have to deal with having a disability, whether it's visible or invisible. So my users have told me that the clothing makes me look good and feel good because of the nice stretchy fabric. It's easy to move. It's easy for them to work with because of that added stretch and comfort. And then with independence, this is a big one for me. This is what I wanted to focus on because I have a lot of people close in my life who need help getting dressed on a day-to-day basis. And, as like a 20-something-year-old or a 30-year-old or even just a teenager, you don't want to have to ask for help when getting dressed. Sometimes it's just like you don't feel as empowered and you kind of feel weak. And that was one big thing I saw with my users that I was testing, that was like they always felt bad having to ask for help, especially when putting on and taking off their clothing. It can become an awkward situation. So I wanted to really focus on making pieces of clothing that users could put on and take off while sitting or standing. And this is where that pixie dress comes in with the donning and doffing process, because that was impossible. So how can I make something that is very possible for a lot of people? So I've done this through making very wide necklines and waistbands on my pants and sweatshirts I have designed. As you can see, this is my roommate. She has rheumatoid arthritis, so her mobility is extremely, extremely limited. She actually has a lot of trouble walking, even just moving her arms and legs and lifting up her legs to put her feet in. And so she said through this, she didn't feel like she had to ask people for help anymore and didn't have to feel bad because these pieces of clothing were her new help. This was her new sense of help. So she was able to take off that sweatshirt sitting. She didn't have to lift her arms over her head, and she was able to pull up the pants by sitting. She said the widened waistband, it was very easy for her to move her feet through, which is really important when promoting that sense of independence in self-dressing. So then for my last goal, mobility was a big part of this as well. So with both my roommate and my sister struggles a lot with fine motor control and dexterity in both of her hands, and also just being able to pull things over her head, as well as my roommate. And so I've used elastic in all of my designs where you're able to now when you have that wide neckline or waistband, you're able to adjust it for it to fit your body. Because a lot of the time, people with physical disabilities struggle not only with putting on their clothing, but also getting it to fit, adjusting it to their body. Like, sometimes you got to reach over to pull something up. They don't always have that, like, that causes pain, or they either just can't do it. So making something that's easy and accessible for them to fit to them. So through this, I've used elastic with elastic clasp. I tested different elastics based on the width and the thickness to see how easy they would stretch, and chose one that stretches the easiest, so it takes limited amount of strength. And I also was very intentional with the elastic clasp that I picked. I chose one with the smallest spring load, and my sister really struggles to push things and just even pull stuff, and she was able to do that pretty simply. So I really like the clasp I chose with the elastic, and you're able to tuck them in and actually not see them when you're wearing them, so you still feel like you're wearing normal clothing and people can't tell that it actually has an accessible component to it. And with the drawstring pants that you see in the corner, I actually do have a design too where the drawstring hides in the pocket and you kind of pull outward from the pockets. You can also pull the drawstring board as well, depending on how your mobility works with your body. And a lot of my users have said they don't have to strain anymore to put on their clothing because, like I said, getting it to adjust and fit to you can cause a lot of strain and pain with my users and anybody with physical disabilities. So having that perk within the clothing that I designed for them was a really nice thing to hear and just a big plus. So then my impact. I now have a prototype for an adaptive clothing line that will help 25% of the United States population. The CDC did a study in 2021 that showed 1 in 4 people in the United States have some sort of physical disability, whether that's invisible or visible. I've increased comfort within my users, and I made clothing that can be adjusted to their needs. I've also decrease the amount of assistance that they need with getting dressed while making it no to little assistance. And I have helped them with their limited mobility and dexterity by the designs that I've used and the accessible accessories that I've added into the pieces of clothing. And I will continue to work on this, and hopefully my goal is to bring it to manufacturing by the end of the year, have some more designs in the works. So we'll see how that goes. And then what's next? I want to continue to create. I want to continue to work on Limitless by Grace and be a voice for the people with physical disabilities in the community who are feeling underserved by the clothing that they have made for them. And I will continue to work at Buckle. If you didn't know, I have a full-time job, so I'm not here much. But this has opened my eyes to the world of retail and also fashion, like what different fabrics are like, how things fit, how certain designs are practically impossible to put on versus very possible to put on. And I will continue living in my house with my fiance and get married in October. So thank you.